Last year, I did something crazy. I sold my MacBook and went all in on the M4 iPad Pro. And I'm not exaggerating when I say this, it completely changed the way I thought about what a computer could be. That tandem OLED display, that portable thin design, the touchscreen, the Apple Pencil, it wasn't just powerful, it was personal. And with iPadOS 26, it became even better. The new multitasking features basically cemented it as my main computer. Now, a year later, Apple is back with their all-new M5 iPad Pro, and while at first glance it might not seem like a huge upgrade, there are definitely some things that are worth talking about. Now, before we jump into my review of the new M5 iPad Pro, let's rewind for a second. The M4 iPad Pro was the device that made me ditch my MacBook for good. As a content creator, I was editing 4K videos in Final Cut Pro and LumaFusion, designing thumbnails, and running my entire YouTube channel all from this portable tablet. But you see, beyond being a content creator, I'm also a digital marketing consultant. So I was using the iPad for creating slide decks, spreadsheets, editing PDFs, creating graphics, and more. And the Apple Pencil allowed me to take great notes and also help me with my design work. The M4 iPad Pro handled it all. It was fast, quiet, and was a joy to use. So naturally, when the M5 iPad Pro was announced, I wanted to see if Apple could take that same experience and make it better. And here it is, the M5 iPad Pro. And let's get this out of the way. The M5 iPad Pro looks identical to the M4. You get the same sleek design, same thin frame, the same stunning OLED display. However, there is one tiny difference, and that is that the back of the iPad no longer has the iPad Pro branding on it. It's simply blank, perhaps for a more minimalistic look. However, I wish they changed the orientation of the Apple logo to horizontal instead of it being vertical as it is right now. I feel like with the iPad, especially the Pro and especially the 13-inch, people use it more in horizontal, so it seems odd having the Apple logo look slanted. Even the Magic Keyboard, for an example, shows the Apple logo in horizontal. But once again, this is just me nitpicking, but if they could remove the iPad Pro branding from the back, I wish they would change the orientation of the Apple logo as well, but that's just hopeful thinking, and rumors are suggesting Apple one day might do it. But where things actually change is on the inside, because Apple made some really smart under-the-hood improvements that make daily life better in subtle but important ways. We're talking faster charging, improved connectivity, and smoother external display performance. So I want to start off by talking about something that's simple but super impactful, and that's fast charging. This year, Apple quietly added support for up to 60 watts charging, and it's a game changer. In fact, the M5 iPad Pro is the first iPad ever to have fast charging. The M5 iPad Pro can hit 50% in just 35 minutes using a charger that supports 60 watts or higher. I tested this with a power adapter that can peak at 60 watts, and yes, it hit that 50% mark in 35 minutes flat. And get this, a full charge takes just 1 hour and 19 minutes. So if you're someone like me who works on the go or travels frequently, this is huge. It's one of those upgrades that you don't really think about until you're running out the door with 20% battery and realize that this thing charges faster than your coffee brews. Next up, the N1 and C1X chips. These are the unsung heroes of the M5 iPad Pro because they improve something that we all rely on daily: connectivity. The N1 chip handles Wi-Fi and Bluetooth and now supports Wi-Fi 7. I tested it head-to-head with the M4's Wi-Fi 6E, and the M5 came out ahead, consistently faster and more stable on modern networks. So if you're someone who uses cloud storage, remote desktop apps, or AirDrop files constantly like I do, you will notice the difference. It's not earth-shattering, but it is something you'll notice. Then there's the C1X chip, which powers cellular and 5G connections, and this one is seriously impressive. Now, I've done a whole video in the past over how much I recommend cellular iPads for those who are always on the go and traveling a lot. I am someone who even likes to use cellular connectivity when I go to coffee shops because, to be very honest, I value insecurity and I just don't trust random Wi-Fi hotspots, and also they're kind of slow when you compare them to the 5G connectivity. And this is what I discovered with the M5. With this cellular-enabled iPad Pro, I went to a coffee shop, and after 2.5 hours of continuous use, the M5 iPad Pro was still at 68% battery. So with these chips, you're getting wild efficiency. Now, if you ever use cellular or don't have a Wi-Fi 7 router, these upgrades might not change your life today. But as future proofing goes, the M5 iPad Pro is setting itself for the long haul. Alright, now this one is for all the creators and power users out there. The M5 iPad Pro now supports 120Hz refresh rates on external displays. According to Apple, this works perfectly with existing setups that do support 120Hz refresh rates, so this means no extra settings or adapters that are needed. And this is amazing because you can now enjoy the ProMotion level smoothness, but now on a larger canvas instantly now. So when you connect the iPad to an external monitor now, you're no longer sacrificing that silky smooth animation experience. It all just works. So whether you're editing video, designing graphics, or even just scrolling through your notes, everything will be buttery smooth now, inside and out. Now we just need Apple to bring that same 120Hz ProMotion support to their own studio display. My fingers are crossed. Now, since we're discussing display, I want to mention that the review unit of the M5 iPad Pro that I received was with the standard display, not the nano texture glass display that is on my M4 iPad Pro. But let me tell you this, I enjoy the nano texture glass display on my M4 iPad Pro as it drastically reduces glare and glossiness, which is super helpful when I'm editing graphics or editing videos or when I'm working outdoors. But here's the thing, you can only get the nano texture glass display on the iPad Pro if you get the higher storage models, the 1TB and the 2TB options, not the 256 and 512. And that is, in my opinion, very disappointing. And on top of that, you have to pay an additional $100 to get the nano texture display. So that comes down to a whopping $2,000. But thanks to my sponsor Paperlike, you get that same experience, if not better, for just $50. With their new Paperlike 3, it uses the newest evolution of nanodots technology, delivering their signature paper feel experience that also drastically removes glare and reflections. The texture feels great, giving you smooth, consistent resistance with every stroke. And installation is seamless as Paperlike 3 introduces the Butterfly application system, a redesigned method that makes applying your Paperlike easier, cleaner, and more reliable than ever before. It eliminates dust-caused bubbles, misalignment, and unclear instructions. Also, I love that you can just scan the QR code for an interactive on-screen guide that walks you through step-by-step instructions for a seamless installation right on your iPad. So if you're serious about note-taking or digital art on your iPad and want the best writing or drawing experience out there, along with drastically reducing glare and reflections, then Paperlike 3 has you covered. And I have a link to it in the description below. Be sure to check them out. But of course, hardware isn't everything. The real magic of the iPad Pro comes from iPadOS 26, and this year's update might be my favorite yet. And I do believe that the M5 chip takes better advantage of the new multitasking system. However, I will add that iPadOS 26 is also on the M4 iPad Pro, and it's just as fast on there as well. For most users, you won't even find a difference with it at all when it comes to speed. So the question at the end of the day is, should you upgrade? If you're coming from the M4 iPad Pro, honestly, I don't think you should. Not unless you need the faster charging or improved wireless performance. Because if we're speaking purely performance, sure, your videos might render a few seconds faster, multitasking might feel a tad bit smoother, but for most users, once again, this won't be something that you'll necessarily notice. The M4 iPad Pro is still an absolute beast. And listen, Apple will come out with a new iPad every year now with a faster M series chip, but that doesn't mean you go out and upgrade each year. It's worth upgrading for those on previous generations prior to the big upgrade, which was the M4. So if you're upgrading from an M2 or older iPad Pro, the jump here is massive. You're getting a lighter design, a better display, faster performance, and now better connectivity and fast charging. It's the most refined version of the iPad Pro that Apple has ever made. And for someone like me who's been using the iPad Pro as your only computer for over a year now, I will say that the M5 does feel like a natural step, mostly because I do a lot of graphic design work and video editing. Now, it doesn't reinvent the wheel, it just makes everything smoother, faster, and smarter. So yeah, Apple didn't need to reinvent the iPad this year. The M4 iPad Pro was already fantastic, they just made the best version of their iPad even better. But as always, I want to know your thoughts. Are you upgrading to the new M5 iPad Pro? And if so, which iPad generation are you upgrading from? Comment below and let me know. And if you enjoyed this review, make sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel for all things Apple, productivity, and more. And I'll catch you in the next one.